Hi all. I am going to walk through my lesson plan that I plan to do with my sixth grade classes in music. Um, I have woven in actually two thinking routines that I think will go really well together. One that I will do with them in a large group, and then one that I'm going to ask them to do in small group time. So this is a lesson plan that I will do with sixth graders related to composers and music of the Romantic era. And it will be different than a normal day for my students in that we'll be sort of taking a break from singing, working on the repertoire that we have on our list, and we'll be studying about composers of a specific style and a specific history unit, and that style of music is music of the opera. So as you can see here on my lesson plan, I've put in just some ideas about GLEs, Missouri standards, so that I know what's been covered in terms of their expectations, in terms of state expectations, but also just for me to keep track of what I'm covering with each class. I've also included a couple check marks to make sure I'm covering some technology standards, because I like that we're using the game lesson plan to show that. This is something I would probably typically do, but I feel like I've just taken it a step further in figuring out ways to help my students take a step back and think critically for themselves. I feel like in this whole course, my thought process has been we are always in such a hurry to get finished with the list of things that I've got to teach them and the songs that they need to learn for the program that I don't feel like the breathe time that they need to actually think, and these activities and these routines that will show their thinking, we just don't have time for them. And I feel like that's going to be up to me to make time for that. So I have put in to my lesson plan, as you can see here, that from the Richard book, Chalk Talk, the idea that I would lead that as a group discussion where we would actually do a group discussion about opera and do a chalk talk together in large group. And then I'm going to put them in small groups with a laptop where they will actually listen to music from two different composers and compare and contrast that. But I'm going to ask them to take that a step further and from Marcia's book, ask them to do some questioning and to write out some questions that will help them more critically think about the composers, about the music that they're composing, and why these pieces of music are important from the opera, from the Romantic era. And I'm going to explain to them the thick and thin questioning and help them ask good, thick questions so that they can hopefully discover ways that they can help themselves learn and seek out knowledge. So really, this is something that I have been doing for years with my students in terms of a listening assignment. A lot of times we'll have a listening map that will go along with a certain listening activity. And so I put that in my instructional activities. Some of my listening have a listening map and some of them don't. I have these particular composers. They will be studying on Classics for Kids, which has biographical information, as well as some composition examples and pieces of music for them to listen to. So there's a lot in here, and my fear is we're going to run out of time because I feel like giving them the time they need to sit back and think about thick questions. Think as we use the Chalk Talk as a time to discuss these thicker questions and discuss these composers and compare and contrast some ideas that they might be looking for. I think that this could possibly go past one class period of 50 minutes. So I'm just going to leave that open to, if this carries over into 2 days, it's okay. And I think that's my biggest takeaway probably from all of this, is that giving them time to think and giving them time to go through these routines that show their thinking is probably the best gift that we can give them. So I hope that this makes sense in terms of a lesson plan for those of you that aren't music people. I know that we all have our own subjects that we teach, but I think it's really interesting to see how we can apply all of this in our own field. So good luck, everybody, and hope you're having a great week.